Ground Radio. New voices amplified.
Every time I get spit, I touch my lesson and I got the hustle, the master, the passion, and brother discussing and fussing. Best special rapper, you got since Sagas the Bantuin. Yaga Balunga, Fungo Mama Mangube, Hanya Batu, Savella Bakuka, hey. When I step in the boot, oh my god, Yafunga cross. I'm not the kind that you wanna cross. Fanagumaka, I'm a predator, try me a bury and force her to carry a cross. I'll divide you into two like Moses. I'm a ruthless goddess, Father, forgive me, I have sinned. Blood on my hands, I've been killing them since.
Ground Radio. New voices amplified.
Greetings, thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to New Voices Amplified. Welcome to the platform where we get to speak to some of the amazing artists from Zimbabwe. And today we have royalty in the building. Yes, I'm speaking to an artist who doesn't need much of an introduction. She's a queen, she's a diva, she's internationally renowned. Go on and on to describe her. But when you hear City of Kings and Queens, they're referring to this queen as one of the queens. She's amazing. I'm speaking to our KHIWE.
Hey! Thank you so much. That was such a lovely introduction. Did you just call me a diva? Hey!
I call her a diva because I know you're very particular about your appearance, about your costumes.
Oh
and
my God.
You are literally the Ndebele diva because every like a different outfit, and I've lost count how many times I've seen you wearing completely different sets, and they're beautiful.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Nobody has ever called me that before. I thought people didn't even notice that I changed. I'm flattered. Now I'm happy. Now I do more costumes. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. You're finally.
Great. I mean, you've been difficult to get hold of because you're busy, but we're happy to have you on the program.
Thank you so much, Nyabonga.
Great, great. So just to begin with, you grew up in Bulawayo and Nkayi. You were traveling between these. Of you becoming a hip hop artist, having grown not just in those two places, but also in a religious family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think myself, what sort of fed your imagination? Tell us a bit about your childhood, your upbringing, and some of the things creating that sort of interest within you to go towards hip hop.
Okay. So I was born at Mzilikazi Clinic in Bulawayo on the 20th of March in 1992. And I grew up in Nkayi Center at the Growth Point. There's a shopping center there and there are houses there. So that's where I grew up. That's where my mother and my father stay. And that's where I grew up. And I was a very creative child. I've always been a creative child. I've always been a diva. Yo. I used to love singing and dancing, performing Sandra Ndebele songs, performing school songs at the veranda there, dancing at weddings. Whenever I went to a wedding, even if I didn't know the people, you just find me there. People throwing money because I'm dancing, whatnot.
So if you had not become a hip hop artist, you could have been a dancer.
I could have been a dancer, yeah.
Wow.
So I've always loved, performing wherever I would go. I would just, kind of perform Yana Esho, even if it's just making people laugh or just dancing or just, doing something funny. But I've always loved performing and creating. So I used to travel a lot with my mom because back in the day she was a temporary teacher before she went to college. and we would travel around. So she would, change schools almost every term, every year. I went to like 10 different primary schools. We would change.
Wow.
Yeah, we would change every year. And
Wow. And you'd make friends every year you
and
move
I
to
had to
someone.
make friends every year. I was a newcomer every year. I always had a new uniform. I always had a new uniform. So we would travel a lot, and I never made, childhood friends, lots of them. So because of that, I used to spend most of my time by myself, So I was very much in touch with my hobbies, with my talents, because I discovered a lot of things. I discovered that, when you spend the whole day by yourself, you discover so many things that you can do.
Yeah.
Especially now that there's lockdown. I've seen many people posting, oh, now I can do this, now I can do this, because people are discovering things they can do. So I also discovered so many things. I discovered that I loved dancing, that I loved, doing poetry, I loved writing. And I started writing when I was in grade 3. That's when I started writing, poetry. I had a book full of poems. I would always, change them, add this and that, make them longer, or add and subtract or whatever, but I was always writing. And when I was in grade 6, I started reciting. I was like, okay, I have so many poems. I need to start learning how to recite them. I would recite every time I would see someone performing or doing a poem. I would be inspired and get home, just stand in front of the mirror and just start performing my poems. Uh, all of them were written in Ndebele. So when I
And do you
grew up,
remember the first poem that you wrote?
I remember the first poem that I wrote. It was about love, and I don't know why I was writing about love in grade 3. I don't know why I was writing about love in grade 3. It was about love and heartbreaks and all of that. I think I was also reading Mills and Boone. I was
I
reading
remember those
Boone.
books.
Yeah, when I was in
Yeah,
grade.
I remember you used to get into trouble in school whenever you read a book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to read them. I used to steal them at the library because they only gave them to grade 7s, but I used to steal them and read them. And oh my god, I was such a fan of love stories, fairy tales, Romeo and Juliet, all those things. So I used to write about love. I think that inspired me because I knew nothing about love back then. But yeah, so I read my first poem called Utando. Oh, Utando, Utando. I don't remember some of the words, but my mom still has my book though. My mom still has my
Oh,
book.
sweet.
That's good. I can always go back and make an album from it.
Oh,
Um so because of my love for poetry, my brother suggested that I should record something. He said, "Listen, um it's 2011 now. You don't have to just have these poems in a book. You can make a CD or something. You should record." And I was like, "Listen, I don't know anyone who records these kind of things in Nkayi." He said, "Listen, just finish your exams. I'll take you to Bulawayo and you will record." So that's when I went to Bulawayo. I went to Makokoba, and my brother introduced me to a producer called Kenneth Chikweza, Kaiser Moore. He used to act Guma Korogoza.
okay.
So I met Kenneth and but before I recorded, my brother had suggested that I should try poetry on a hip hop beat. And ngathi lo uyahlanya uyahlanya uyangidlalela and uyahleta. But I tried it, and everyone who was there was like, "Oh my god, this is good, this is good, oh you're so good." So when I went to MTR, Makokoba Township Records, I
Yeah.
went there to record a song, but I didn't know what I was going to record. My brother just said, "Just go there. Kenny will show you. Kenny will show you what to do." So I got there, and I recorded my first song with Kaiser Moore, and everyone who was there at the studio was, oh my god, was so supportive, was so
Experience.
support. Everyone in the studio,
Wow.
I enjoyed my first studio session. Everyone there was like, "Yo yo lentwana, yo yeah rapper, yo," and I was like, "What?" So I had never had anyone gas me up like that. So I'm really thankful that those guys, you know, treated me the way they did, because that's when I saw, oh my God, I can really do this, you know. So
Wow.
sometimes you really need people to give you that first push to make you realize that no, you're not crazy, you're talented.
Yes.
And so um I had my brothers there in Makokoba pushing me and helping me out, and really, you know, assisting me. I didn't even know how to count bars. When I remember when they just put the beat, and they said no, I didn't know anything. I had never seen people recording music. I had only it was my first time. I had
I can
only
imagine.
listened to the song, and I would always imagine, I wonder how they do this song. So when I got to the
Wow.
studio, so I was like, so I should just do it. Yeah, just do it. Just record. And I recorded
And
that
and and,
song.
and to think of it, you started recording music, just music, but hip hop. And like I mentioned earlier on, you grew up in to uh, the Seventh Day Adventists, who are known for being very conservative, and there is
Yeah.
no hip hop whatsoever that goes on in church, and possibly at home also. It was, how much of rebellion did you have to go through for you to get acceptance and appreciation by your parents to do this?
Yeah. Yo, I had to fight. My God, my God. Yo, the first time I told my friends that, yo, Mina, I want to be a hip hop artist, all of them laughed. You know, they laughed. They were like, wait. And I was like, here in Zimbabwe. And they were like, ah, wena hip hop in Zimbabwe. Njengobani, who else is doing this? Like, who else has ever done this and achieved?
Yeah.
Who is doing it? Like, who is planting these crazy ideas in your head?
Mhm.
So at that moment, I was so demotivated, and I was so, you know, I felt like, okay, maybe I'm crazy. You know, sometimes people, when everyone says you're crazy, you end
Yeah.
up feeling like you're really crazy. Because I remember back in the day at school, when our teacher would say, um, what do you want to be when you grow up? I once said, I want to be a musician, and everyone laughed. And the teacher said, Awa, ma serious, please, please. Everyone, can you please give us serious answers? Serious answers only. And because of that, you know, I felt like, okay, so I felt like music is not serious business. Music is just something to joke and laugh about. And when my friends also told me that, no, 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 you can't do hip hop in Zimbabwe, so I was so demotivated. But when I told my family, it was even worse, because
Wow.
my mom cried. Yo, the pain of making your own mother cry, to like,
Oh
yo,
no.
watching your mom crying and saying, please don't do this, I beg. And my mom even said, even if I die in my grave, I will be turning if you continue doing this hip hop thing. And
Oh
I was
no.
like, wow, really? So, you know, that was the kind of response that I got. But not my father, though. My father was really neutral. My father was really neutral, because my dad, when we were growing up, he used to play the guitar and we would sing with him. So all these creative genes, I got them from him. So I think he knows that, and he would never really say anything. He wouldn't say yes, he didn't say no. He was just like, I again, Linda. So my mom was disappointed though, because I was really doing well at school, and she had high expectations, just like most parents. You know, when you do well at your O levels and you finish A level, and they expect you to get a job and whatever. So she had high expectations and high hopes, and I was disappointing her, and it was hurting me as well. But at that moment, um I felt like I had to follow my dreams, because if I had not done that, I would resent her later on. And I didn't want that. I felt like if I don't do what I love, I'm gonna hate my mom, because later on, maybe she says, okay, don't do music, go to school. And after I finish university, I can't find a job. I'm not
Yes.
doing what I love. I'm just sitting at home, depressed, you know, and I'm wishing I had just done music so that at least I can be happy in life. So, because I understood that my position mentally as well, I chose disobey her for the first time in my life. I
Wow.
disobeyed her, and I just decided to continue doing music. And she was very sad. She was very sad. And even when I was going to Germany, we were not on speaking terms, you know. She was like, whatever, you chose to disrespect me. And she would write these long
Oh.
messages. You know, moms, how the moms are. They write long messages.
But I mean, did she ever get to a point where she said, I think you were right? Or she still feels that you
Sorry,
should
it
not
was
have?
just breaking there. I didn't get that. Sorry.
Ah, okay. No, I was asking, at what point did she start changing her mind towards your career and your decision to disobey?
Sorry.
Sorry, there was a background noise. Sorry, the child was crying. Okay. At what point did your mother start appreciating and accepting that you chose the right path? Or
Yeah.
did it ever happen? She still feels you
No,
disobeyed her.
now she has accepted now. Now she has accepted. I think for me, um to be able to do so many things or achieve things that I have achieved, it's because she finally blessed me. She finally gave me her blessing. And
Right.
my mom went to the pastor, and she said Awa is not listening to us anymore. She's gone to Europe now to make music without our
Wow.
approval. So
So
you
you left for Europe without your mother's
I
approval.
left without my mother's approval. I left with,
Ah,
it was drama at the house. She wanted to hide my passport. I took my passport and I just left. And I didn't tell her. I told her later on. I said, Mama, I'm going to Germany. I'm in the plane. And she said, please get off that plane and come back home. And I was like, nope, I'm not getting off the plane. So I left without her approval. And she was very angry about that. And I felt bad as well. I sent her messages and I said, listen, Mama, this is what I love doing. It doesn't mean that I don't love you. I love you and I respect you. I love my father. I respect you guys. But this is what I've chosen to do. And like you said, I come from a religious family as well. They that's not what they wanted for me. That's that I don't think they had ever imagined me choosing to do hip hop music. So it took time. It took time. But then when she went to see the pastor and tell him that my child has chosen to go astray and do hip hop music, the pastor said, listen, you will lose your daughter if you continue fighting her. You know what you
yes.
should do? Just bless her. Just bless her and talk to her and support her and pray for her. You will see that you guys will fix your relationship. And
Wow.
that's
So
exactly what happened. And my mom would ask me, so are you performing today? And I would say, yeah, I'm performing. Where are you performing? Okay, be safe. Are
wow.
you home now? And at that moment, doors started opening. I believe in certain energies stopping things from happening. I believe that's
Yes.
in Munyama and all of those things.
Yes.
So for me, when my mom, you know, warmed up to the idea of me being an artist, so many things started happening. That was 2018. 2017 was
Wow.
a very tough year for me. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even record music. I would go to the
Wow.
studio. I don't know how many sessions we did with RTA Records, paid for them, and I couldn't even record. I would try to record, but it wasn't right. But 2018, when my mom, finally gave me her blessing, so many things started happening. Um, and I was happy as well and relieved as well. And I started playing a lot of shows as well. And I started sending money home. I would send money
Wow.
home and say, yo,
Wow.
this is the money that I made from the show. You guys can take this, you guys can do this, you guys can do that. So I think also her seeing that okay, she's benefiting financially as well, she's financially stable, she's happy, she's okay. She was relieved as well because she had always been worried about me, investing and getting nothing from it. Because with music, you invest for a long time, you buy things, and you just don't get the money there and there. You have to hope that one day um, it will pay off. So when my mom saw me doing shows, going for tours, and making a bit of money here and there, she kind of accepted and let me be. So she always sends me messages. I saw you on the paper today when I was just walking in town. I'm proud of
Yes.
you. Um,
Oh,
I
sweet.
posted something on my Facebook. It was just a screenshot of messages from my mom saying, "Listen, I'm praying for you. I hope everything you do with your albums, I don't know what you're doing there, but all those things that you're doing with your album, with your music, I hope everything turns to gold. I hope that you will succeed." And that makes me happy. That makes me so, so, so happy.
Wow. This is quite moving. Starting hip hop music in 2011 and only getting approval and support around 2018.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It was a long journey, it was a long journey. There were so many times when I would think of leaving and all of those things. But then sometimes one thing that I learned from all of this is that one thing that I love about my mom is that we always sit down, have a heart to heart conversation, and evaluate our relationship, our mother daughter relationship, and talk about things that we can improve. How can I improve as a daughter? The other time I said, how can I improve? How can I make you happier? And she said, listen, your skirts when you're performing, they're too short. I don't like it. You can change by making them longer. I was like, really? And she was like, mm-hmm. And so now I don't wear short skirts anymore. If you check everything that I wear now, it's a bit
Oh, for
longer.
real.
Yeah, because I had to respect her. I had to respect her, and she asked me, "What can I do as well?" And I told her, "No, I think now you're at a point where you understand where I was coming from." And we would talk about the fact that I was never given choices in life. I was just told, listen, you will do this and that. Even things that I studied for A level, I did not want to study that. But my mom just looked at my results and said, good, you passed. Okay, good. You will do accounting, and let's see what else. You'll do business studies, and uh geography. And no one asked me, what do you want to do?
What do you want to
So,
do?
yeah,
Everything
nobody
was
asked me that.
prescribed on you.
No, everything was just given, because I understand where she was coming from, because she just wants to make sure that I'm good, I succeed. But I wasn't given choices, and sometimes I think that's one thing that most parents don't realize, especially nowadays, that you know they want to live their dreams through us. They want to live their dreams through us, but
Yes.
that's not okay, because most of the children out there are depressed because they are doing things that they don't love. And most parents think that providing is parenting, but that's not all of it. Providing is just another responsibility, but you can't dream for your child. You have to let them dream by themselves. It happens naturally. And whenever kids start showing interest in something, you never know um how far that will go. And you can't stop a child from being passionate about something, no matter what. If you knew how many times I was told to stop liking
Wow.
music, even just listening to it, sometimes mom would be like, these things that you listen to, this is the reason why.
I can imagine, hip hop with all the profanity, the F
Yeah,
words and
there
stuff,
was
and
a
you're
time when
thinking,
my mom would even say, I don't like this, these things are satanic, maybe they've got to you. Mom would always send me videos of this Illuminati, whatever. Like, you see what happens in hip hop. This is what you
quite
told us.
interesting there. But I mean, fast forward, or maybe I still keep you around 2014. This is the first time that I saw you perform,
Oh
and you're
yeah,
performing at the Book Cafe, the old Book Cafe.
yeah.
Um, it was the Next Level project, and
Mm-hmm.
I think you
Mm-hmm.
were the only girl that was, yeah, you're the only lady
I
who
think
was
so.
performing.
I think so. Yeah, I think
And
so. I was the only one. Even earlier, before the performance, we
yes,
did a cipher. I don't think it was recorded. I think everyone was just there. There was good vibes, and everyone
yes.
was just having fun. And we had a cipher, and I was the only girl there. I think I was the only girl.
Wow. And I remember from that performance, you came there bare feet. Like your outfit was the first point of connection. Like everybody like was, wow, who's this girl? Like she's coming in wearing a traditional outfit and stuff.
Oh my
Um,
God, I remember that.
and from then you never stopped. You did a lot of festivals back at home, Shoko Festival. You did in Twasa. You did so many performances and stuff.
I did GB
You
Liga.
did Jimmy Liga, yes, and thank you so much for gracing that show. Yeah, but before we move to the next chapter, it will be impossible for us to have this conversation and not talk about your great late friend, and my deepest condolences. Yeah, may he so rest in peace,
May you go rest in
Calvin.
peace. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really yeah, it's quite
It's
heavy.
sad. It's so sad. It's so sad. I always go to the Jibiliga page to
Mhm.
look for that cipher, where we were all happy, at Jibiliga Festival. And at that time, I think that was when Kelvin was. I don't remember what Kelvin was doing at that time. I think he was doing. Um, I think he had just released Perfectly Balanced in 2014. Yes, he had just
Okay.
Perfectly Balanced. And I had just released a single called Moneni Na. And we would talk, and we would share problems, especially about rapping in Ndebele, because Kelvin had just switched to rapping in Ndebele. He had been rapping in English most of the time, so we would always talk about it, the difficulties and everything. And and that was a time when we had just started talking, and that was the time when we went to Jubilee. I remember him texting me saying, "Hey, you also gonna be there? I saw your name on the post." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be there." And we did not talk much. 2015, we
Yeah.
didn't talk much. Then 2016, we traveled to Germany together as well. And
Yes.
he was like, we always meet up when we have to perform. That's a good thing. It's a sign, and all of that. And
And
then
how was the
2000,
experience? How was the experience? Like you guys traveled, you performed with Casper Vest and a couple of other, very prominent artists, and you were there. You were all over the German news,
yo,
doing radio interviews and stuff. And it was something that I said a lot of the times we've seen Zimbabwean artists going to perform outside of Zimbabwe. Either they're performing for Zimbabweans, and when they do perform outside, um, we never hear them like in the local news, like in
mm,
those countries.
mm.
But you guys, you told, you were making headlines, and you still managed to deliver a brilliant show alongside one of Africa's biggest icons, Casper Nyovest.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience, honestly. Especially because now, of course, now I do appreciate it when people say, or when I get bookings around Europe or wherever. But I think it's easier now because I live in Germany anyway, so when I do shows in Berlin or wherever, it's easier now. But back then, I didn't even think it was possible until I received a call. I was coming from the borehole. I was carrying a bucket on my head, and
Wow.
and then my phone was vibrating, and then I was like, okay, let me check this number. I was just, I had my bucket like this, and I was checking.
Oh no.
And I was like, what is this number with so many numbers? I gave to my friend, and I was like, what is this? And my friend was like, it says +49 something something. And my friend was like, listen, don't answer this number that you don't know.
It must
Satan
really
is
mad.
people. Satan is calling people. If you answer, then you have joined, then you have joined, you're part of it. You can't reverse it. I was like, when then I answered the call, and the person on the other end of the phone was Georg Mills.
Yeah.
And Georg was like, and then Georg was, he said a lot of, that most Germans are just straight to the point, just ka,
Yes.
ka, 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 ka.
Yeah.
So he said to me, "Hey, Awa, it's Georg from Out Here Records. We made a show
Because
festival. Hope you still remember me." And I was like, yes, I remember you. Hi." And then he said, "Hi." And then he said, Awa, I want you to come over to to Germany for this festival called Urban Africa, but I want to invite you first to be part of a talk that is going to be here for something called 10 Fund. And I want you to come and be a representative of the artists that are going to come to talk about why Africa needs exposure in Europe, why we need to do this festival. So I need you to come. And then while I was still trying to process everything that I was saying, he said, "So I'm gonna email you everything for your visa and your flight." I was like, "Whoa,
Wow.
what?" So,
Already.
and then he was like, "I'm going to email you everything for your visa and for your flight and your flight ticket, and you're gonna be staying in Berlin." And I was like, "What is this guy saying? Like, wait, let me process one thing at a time. You say you want
Wow.
me to come to Germany?" And then I said, "Yes, you have to be here." And I was like, "What?"
Wow.
So for me to receive a call in my village to go and perform it in Europe, I felt like I was way too small for that. I was like, this one got it all wrong. This is not my league. I can't be performing in Europe when I haven't even made it locally. So for me, to go to that festival and perform there with artists that were really, like you said, prominent artists, big in their countries, and everything that they were doing. Um, Everyone who was there, that was the time Casper Nyovest was at his prime. That was the
Yes.
Doc Shebeleza, Puma Gimi time,
Yeah.
and major league DJs as well. So many artists from Ghana, Nigeria. So for me, I felt like I was too small. I was like, okay, I see the list of artists who are doing really well, but I've just started, blooming. I've just started performing, and I felt really small for that. But at the same time, it was such an honor because it came at a time when nothing much was happening, and I was so demotivated. I was like, where am I even going to start? Sometimes, when you do a song, you finish doing it, and it's a good song. It's a really good song. And at that time in Matabeleland, we had no radio, no TV
Yes.
station, nothing. No Skies Metro, no Kulumani FM,
Wow.
nothing. So you would realize it after you record a song, and everyone is like, "Oh, this is a dope song." And then you realize that you have nowhere to take the song. You
And this was before internet really,
Exactly.
uh,
It was
yeah.
before the internet was really popular and everything. So that was the most difficult time for me, because you would make the song and then send it to your friends via Bluetooth and ask them to send it
Wow.
to their friends, and people would be like, I always see many people commenting. Now I don't even engage
Yeah.
in those conversations about what artists should do, what they should have
Yeah.
done, because it's too much for me. I always catch feelings and end up making enemies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people don't understand the difficulties that we were facing back in the day of making a song and having nowhere to take it without. And people would be like, but you could do shows at the ghetto, or take it from ghetto to ghetto, whatever.
Yes.
Some of these things that people suggest, they are very easy if you are from a privileged family. I
Yes.
mean, if you give me, like, I don't know, if you give me 10,000 and say market a song in Bulawayo right now, I will
You can
go
actually market it.
I will go to every door and give people flyers or whatever. But back then, we were young, we didn't have jobs, we didn't have money, we didn't have platforms. The only festival.
This is quite interesting on so many levels. I mean, it's a conversation that I've been involved in so many times, and I still share the same sentiment that um, the imbalance on a regional level still do exist even now when there's internet and everything.
Mm,
But opportunities, because I saw a lot of talent every time I visited Blau, I would bump into these artists, and I remember Calvin, the first time that he came to Harare and he performed the hip hop awards, and everybody was like, "Who's this guy?"
mm,
And it took that one opportunity for people to start paying attention,
mm,
uh, and,
mm.
and I started thinking how many other artists possibly could have had that same opportunity
That
if
same opportunity.
things were equal. But
Mm,
let's
mm,
talk about some of these struggles, because I see we didn't know AWA before AWA made it in Europe.
Yeah.
We didn't know
Yeah.
Calvin until the Casper New Vest feature.
Until the Casper Universe feature. So, you know, many people always say that, like, I'm glad that you brought up the imbalance.
Mhm.
Harare, I'm not going to say Mashonaland because there are
Yeah.
many artists in Mashonaland and Manicaland, maybe, and
Yeah.
wherever,
Sure.
who suffer because they're not from Harare. So I
Sure.
will say Harare, um, and Bulawayo, because Bulawayo is like, the main city in Matabeleland.
Yes.
It's like two different worlds. I've performed in Bulawayo. I've performed in Harare. I've done a lot of networking in Bulawayo. I've done a lot of networking in Harare. I've lived in Bulawayo. I've lived in Harare. So
Mhm.
my experiences, they were totally different. Like, it's like two different countries. Like, I was like, what? The
Sure.
first time I went to Harare, I went to Shogo, and I saw everything that was happening in Shoko for those 3 or 4 days, when I saw people coming through, filling up the place, and people, selling merchandise, and there were so many tents. There was a poetry tent. There were other people doing graffiti on the other side. They were dancing.
Yes.
It was alive. The city was alive. Like, I was like, okay, this side, guys, there's the music industry. I even told my I was like, guys, that side, people are doing a lot of things. And when we went to Shogo, we went to ZFM to also talk about everything we were doing there. We did interviews at ZFM, I think, and Star FM as well,
Yeah.
and many other radio stations that were there. And some of them were, I think some of them were online radio stations, that, and there were so many people who were doing like online radio stations at the
Yes.
time, interviewing us at the festival. So my experience at Shoko made me realize that, I thought there was no music industry in Zimbabwe. There is. It's in Harare. Yo.
Mhm.
And so for me to be at ZFM, it was my first time to be on radio ever since I had started, because
Wow.
I had there was no other radio station besides the ones in Harare. So
Yes.
people who always say, no, people should just work hard. There's no imbalance, whatever. Just you market yourself, just work hard. People always say, just work hard, whatever. The imbalance is there. It has always been there, and I'm just happy that things are changing now. I'm happy that there's Skies Metro. I'm happy that
Yeah.
there's Kulumani.
Mhm.
But
The Breeze FM.
yeah, and I'm really happy. But then still, you know, until those radio stations broadcast nationwide,
Nationally. True.
it won't change much, because the gap is still there. The gap is still there. It's not that people in Mashonaland hate develop people, they don't want to listen to their music. That's not true. That is not true. I always get messages from people saying, hi, I'm from Chinoi. I just heard your song on Star FM. I
Yeah.
just wanted to tell you that you're good. Or, I'm from wherever. I just heard your song on Star FM. Just heard you on ZFM. Nziyo yakho iri kurira ku-ZFM.
Yeah.
Msikana
I
wako
like it.
urirepa neNdebele. So,
Yeah.
those platforms are so important. Platforms that will expose your talent to people in different places around Zimbabwe. And we did not have that. The only way we could have that was to travel to Harare. Harare is far from Bulawayo, guys. Harare is far from Bulawayo. You have to
Sure.
travel for, though, I don't know how many hours to get there. You have
Yeah.
to know people as well to get there. Like, I'm not gonna talk about privileged artists who have got money to,
Yeah.
to travel. I'm gonna talk about artists who don't have money to kickstart their careers, because that's the case with most artists.
Mhm.
So it's really hard to go there. And in Zimbabwe, if your talent does not come with money, back then it was almost impossible to do that. And people would say, but how can you cry for support in Harare or for platforms, whatever, if you guys can't even do shows at the ghetto and whatever?
And fill up. Yeah.
But then the struggle that artists from Matabeleland face now, is that people, back in the day, there was a time when the music industry was very much alive in Bulawayo. And
Yes.
that was the time when there was the gap between Bulawayo and Harare wasn't that big, because there were the galas that were shown on
Yes.
ZBC, and everyone would see Sandra Ndebele there, everyone would see School and Pure
Yeah.
Z
Yeah.
and
True.
Chamembe, and the whole country got to know people because we were all watching that platform. But then uh, when there was a time when nothing much happened from that time until early 2010. Nothing much was happening, or even on TV or whatever. Ndebele songs stopped playing. After that, if I'm wrong, please correct me. If there was someone else or a color after Abo Chamembe, please correct me. But Mina, from what I noticed, after the Chamembe songs and the Hamba Nobani,
Mhm.
Ndebele music stopped playing on radios and on ZBC. No, it was not that much. The impact that,
Yeah.
nationally, it wasn't that much. And because of that, people stopped paying attention to local music. Not because, by local, I'm talking about the Matabeleland region. People
Yeah.
stopped paying attention to it because there wasn't much happening at the time. And unfortunately, that was a time, fortunately or unfortunately, but unfortunately for us, the artists, that was a time when people started having ama satellite dish. That was a time when ama take and
And people started watching South African content more.
yes, yes, that was the time when people started watching South African content when we didn't have much going on. So the reason why most people until now in 2021, if you talk of Ndebele music, people say, we listen to Ndebele music. We listen to Majaivana in school and all. So people are still referring to Ndebele
Artists
songs
from the
from
past.
20 years ago,
Yeah.
or from 20 years ago, because those are the only songs they know. That was the time when they were following. But this gap, this like 10-year gap that was there, a lot changed.
Wow.
People started consuming South African content, dramas, um, movies, music, following South African trends, South African fashion, South African cultures.
Mhm.
Bulawayo, kind of became a mini South Africa in
True.
Zimbabwe. And because of that, you know, people stopped paying attention to local music, even though people were recording and making songs, but
Mhm.
getting the music to the people now became a challenge, because people are watching SABC 123 ETV, and you are there in Magwegwe making a song. How are you going to get your music? How are you going to get your music on SABC?
True. True.
Yeah, how are you
Because
going to
we
get the
used to
money to
we used
pay?
to watch the Amakosi live. You
Mm-hmm.
know. Now we're watching live on ETV on SABC.
Exactly. Now
You
people
know.
are watching live, Rilko Boza,
Mm.
they're following. Even I grew up following all those things because,
Oh,
if that's what was there. And in Nkayi, we didn't have ZBC. So we
yeah.
were to watch SAPC and follow South African trends, music. I know all the hit songs from South Africa for the
Yeah.
past 2 decades. And
Mhm.
that's what I've been exposed to. Not because I don't like Zimbabwean music, but because there has been nothing happening,
True.
nothing that can compete with South Africa in terms of content, in terms of the platforms that they have. Those guys have an industry. The platforms
Yeah.
that they have, the quality of
Mhm.
not just the songs, but also the shows, the TV shows, the way
Yeah.
everything is set up, the quality is just, it's on an international level. So us locally, when we started, when movements started to happen, when things started to happen in Bulawayo, when by the way, before I continue, uh
Yes.
let me just say, I'm not saying people were not releasing music after school. I know there are people who may be angry that,
Yeah.
but we
Oh,
were
so
doing
what are
this
we
and this
doing?
and
Yeah.
this.
True.
Let me just say that I know people were releasing it, but what I'm saying is the impact nationally, it wasn't that much. So when people started, coming through and having, doing shows and just trying to revive our industry,
Mhm.
it was too little too late at that time, because people were already hooked on South African content,
Sure.
and the gap between us and Harare was way too big. It was
Yeah.
difficult to fill it up. It was way too hard. I would always try sometimes and end up giving up. But one artist who really, you know, gave people a wake up call to say, yo, those guys are doing something big, was
Yeah.
Kelvin.
True.
Kelvin
True.
Kelvin went extra mile to go to H Town and try to network there, take his music to radio, be on the charts, and it's hard. It's hard for a song from Matabeleland to be on radio, on the charts or whatever. And people actually, paying attention to it, paying attention to the story behind the artist behind. It's not that easy. You have to have something special for people to
True.
notice you. People can't just notice you out of the blue, because it's hard for even artists in H Town as well to be there. Because there's been people who have been in the industry for a very long time, and they
Yes.
have been topping the charts for decades. People like Winky D, you know,
Yeah. True.
people like Ja Praiser have
Definitely.
been on the charts since Eriza,
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
now. Hokoyo, he's still there. So for you to get the chance to be maybe on the top 20, or just even Kurira one time to be
Yeah.
mentioned there, it wasn't easy. It was not easy. You had to be extra special to get a chance to be on radio or to be interviewed.
Wow.
So Calvin did a really good job, and I feel like we did not even thank him enough for really, opening that, that space for more
Yeah.
artists to shine. And because that was the time when most radio DJs started to look for for um for content from Matabeleland.
True.
Even through the WhatsApp groups, there were so many WhatsApp groups at that time. 2014, there were so many WhatsApp groups. Yo, that was that was there were so many WhatsApp groups. And listen, WhatsApp groups are so important for pushing music in Zimbabwe. People don't understand. One day, people will understand that.
I think this is why Zim Dancehall is a WhatsApp warrior category.
Exactly. And we were doing that in hip hop as well. I remember there was a time when Blackbird created groups for people to start networking, and I think she had like 5 WhatsApp groups full of people sharing music, sharing everything. And for me, that helped me so much, because that is how my journey started. If I had not been in
Wow.
a WhatsApp group, I wouldn't be here today, because
Wow.
that was how I got to know what was happening around the city, who was doing what. And I started performing at the bigger than hip hop shows,
Yes.
and that was where I met Ruth, and Ruth took me to Shoko, and
Yeah.
and
In place
UK.
of war. Yeah.
Exactly. So WhatsApp groups played a huge role in hip hop, in especially in bridging the gap, because there were so many people. That's where I met people. I started talking to people like Ten Diamond and everyone
Yes.
else, and people like Ten Diamond really took their time to talk to people, and encourage people, and whatnot. So I got the chance to see what was happening in Harare as well. I remember when Ten Diamond sent a video. I think it's his song "Happy" with
Heavy. Yeah. Yeah.
Brown,
Pure
and I
emergency
saw like
time.
a balloon floating in the air. Then there were some girls, and I was like, "This is what other people are doing in Zim." Oh my god, I was so inspired. I was like,
Uh,
"Poof, this is crazy. This is." I was like, "Oh my god, I have to meet Ten Diamond in my life." And the first thing I did when I got to Harare,
to
I
meet
was like,
them.
"Ten Diamond, I need to meet you." And luckily, I was sharing the stage with him. He was performing with Amara after us, and
Ah,
I made
okay.
it. I was so happy. So I got to discover music from Cynic,
Mm.
from oh my god, so many artists from H Town. And even though I wasn't talking to them, I just, that was how I kind of got into the industry, and got to know about what was happening in H Town as well. So WhatsApp groups played a huge role for us at that time in 2014. And when I got to Shoko and I saw you know, what others were doing out there, I was so inspired. I was so
Wow,
inspired. I was like,
great.
this is possible. This can happen. And when I go to H Town as well, people welcomed me with open arms. Like, I remember the first
Oh,
time I got there, I was hungry. The first person who bought me food was Cynic. I
oh,
think he was,
nice.
and I think he was, I don't think he still remembers this. I think he was working at Alliance France.
Yeah,
And
he's
I met
working at Alliance.
and I met him for the first time. He was wearing a suit. And I was like, oh my God, you're Cynic. Ah, I love your music. I love your song, Losing Sleep. And was like, what? Really? You guys
Uh,
are playing our music in Bulawayo. I was like, yeah. You know, I think I had texted him on Facebook and I said, yo, I wish to meet you. I'm coming to H Town. So that's the thing. I hope if there are younger artists like me,
mhm.
sorry, if there are younger artists who want to push music like me, I hope they're taking notes. Like
Yeah,
I said,
I certainly hope. I hope that they're actually
I hope
writing
they're
things down.
taking notes. Like I said, I was texting people in H Town, texting 10 Diamond, I wish to meet you, texting Cynic. It's very important.
Wow.
Networking is the only way we will bridge the gap between, you know, between our regions. So I talked to Cynic,
Sure.
yo, I wish to meet you. And he was like, and crazy, we were rehearsing it at Alliance France.
Alliance was, yeah.
And he was working there and he bought me lunch. He was so nice. He was like, oh
Oh,
my God, I
cute.
love what you're doing. I was like, listen, I've made it. Cynic loves my music.
Uh,
I've made it. And Cynic has supported me until now. Anything that I
wow.
do, anything I release, he's the first person to share.
Wow.
So I got to H Town and I started doing a lot of networking. I didn't even have money for business cards,
Yes.
whatever, but I had a book and paper where I
So
was
you'd write
writing my
you'd
poems.
write names and numbers down.
Yeah, then I would lie to people because I wanted to pretend to be a professional. I would lie and say, listen, I just ran out of business cards, ne? But I can write but I can write my name down here for you and I can write my contact. And that helped me in so many ways. Like people,
Wow.
I linked up with so many dope people because of doing that.
And
And
you did, you
and
did,
and when I got to H Town,
yeah.
Cynic bought me lunch and Begotten Son bought me lunch the next day. Begotten
Ah,
Son took
nice.
everyone who was there because we were having some kind of a cipher. And Begotten Son said, hey, everyone, come, let's go to Chicken Inn. And
Ah,
he was like,
nice.
"Okay." And I was like, wow, this guy is super nice. He
Big
made
up Kudam Sosiwa is the realist.
he's the realest. And then he took us all to eat and everything. And then he was like, yo, I love your performance. You were very unique. I love the energy that you bring. I don't understand what you're saying. But I was like, that's a girl rapping in the belly wearing her traditional costumes. This is new.
Yeah.
This is fresh. And he said one thing to me. Sana said, listen, this thing that you're doing is so powerful and you will go very, very far with it. Like you will go very far. Trust me.
Mhm.
And for me, that was all the motivation I needed. That was enough motivation to keep me going and to know that, yo, this has potential. Because
Wow.
sometimes it's not about what you can do for a person, but most people are so powerful, they just need someone to tell them that you're not crazy, your potential
Yeah.
can take you places, so that they can work on their potential and they become great. And
Wow.
that was the likes of Begotten Son and Cynic and Ten Diamond for me. You know, they
Yeah.
gave me that push that I needed, especially because I was on the other side. I was in H Town for the first time.
Yes.
I was in H. That was my first day in Harare, and I was like, "Yo,
Wow.
I hope people are gonna be nice to me in Harare." Oh my God, I left Trey Young. Trey Young was
Yes.
so nice to me because Trey Young was the hottest female rapper at that
At
time.
that time, yeah, she was.
She had just dropped Ndikoko
Yeah.
and she had a manager. I remember meeting her and she was with her manager and they were very busy, but she took the time to stop and say, yo, Awa, what's up? And I was just like,
Nice.
I'm not playing with Trey Young. Yo. And
But
Trey
I mean,
Young was like, yo, sis, I love what you're doing. Keep on doing it, you know. And she
uh,
showed me so much love. And that's how I just started networking since then, you know. And when you met me, when
yes.
you saw me for the first time, I was at Mashoko,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and they had invited me to come back again for the second time because it was
Wow.
after Shoko Festival. I remember Mashoko, we did it. It was around February,
Yes.
so they invited me back, Comrade Fadzo and everybody, and I was supposed to go to the UK. I don't remember what happened, but Comrade Fato was so supportive and was like, "Yo, your visas are not working out. What? We're gonna help you. You need to go." Comrade Fato has been so helpful in my, I don't even know, like, he has been so helpful in my entire career. Whenever I would face problems, I would be like, "Yo, Fato, they're saying this can't be this," and we're like, "Okay, how can I help you? Where are you?" And so, oh my God, and you, how can I leave you?
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. But
How
I mean,
can I leave you?
thanks a lot.
How
Thanks a
can I
lot.
leave you? How can I leave you? You used to drive me to, and now I have to tell people. I have to tell people that you're the host.
Now I'm
The
blushing.
host. You used to drive me to embassies. You used to accommodate me. You used to feed me. You used to do everything. So for
No,
me,
so
I feel like, I'm so thankful for the energy that everyone gave me, because whenever people tell me that, oh, they in Mashonaland, they don't like Ndebele artists or whatever,
yeah,
I know that's not true, because I've been there and people, they gave me family vibes all the way. So for me, I felt like I felt at home, really, and I felt like I could come back anytime and I could do more projects. And I continued doing a lot of networking in H Town, talking to people, talking to DJs, talking to producers, you know, just talking to people and knowing what's happening, because it's important
sure.
to know what's happening. Just in case you can be a part of it, you should always know what's happening.
Yeah.
People always say, "Ah, are you in Germany?" And I say, "Yeah." And they say, "How come you're always talking
You're
about
always thinking
things?"
about stuff that's happening at home.
Yeah, and I think they say the same thing about you as well. You are the first people to tell
Nice.
people about what's happening in Zim before
Yeah, yeah. I'm always trying to keep my ear on the ground. But I mean,
exactly.
looking at um the time that you did Shoko Festival, you performed with Simbi Sounds, and the next thing we saw a documentary of you on Noisy. And this is a huge platform. People have no idea how big it is to be featured on the Noisy. And that documentary went viral. People talking about it,
Yeah.
articles were written. What
Mhm.
was the experience? You're telling your story in that documentary, and it's a story that I believe generations to come will be inspired by such a story. How was the
Yo,
experience?
it was crazy. It was crazy. Like, I remember the person who really made it happen was Ruth Daniel from In Place
Mm,
of War.
yes.
Um, Honestly, I don't remember what was supposed to happen, but I don't think I was the one who was supposed to do that documentary the way we did it. I remember that there was another plan, but um
You
every
ended up being the person.
there was another plan. I don't remember what was happening or who was supposed to do what, but I remember that they decided that no, we should document our in her journey and her collaboration with Simbas, because that was the whole point. Cultural exchange, to collaborate with people so that they expose our talents in Europe or in the UK or wherever.
Yes.
So when Max, a guy called Max Steller, he's a filmmaker.
Yes.
When we got there, we had such a great vibe, and they told me, "No, how are we gonna film you?" Oh my God, I was like a celebrity for the whole 3 days. People were following me around with cameras, and people would be like, and then this one, she must be famous." Cameras were following me. I was a celebrity. I was like, okay, so this is my home, and then the cameras would be like, "Cook, cook, cook, cook. This is my
Nice.
home. This is my brother. This is my." So for me, besides that, getting a chance to collaborate with people, with filmmakers, and everybody who was part of that project, it was such an honor. It was such an honor for me to be given that opportunity to tell
Mm,
my story to the world, not just to people watching at a festival, to the world.
wow.
At that time, I did not realize the importance of it. I guess I was young, and I was just excited about being part of the music industry, all
Yes.
these professional things happening. I was
Yes.
just happy. But at that time, I didn't realize it. But later on, when the documentary came out,
Right.
and it went viral, like, it went viral, and people were sharing it. People were like, "Oh my God, this girl is so dope. She's so energetic." At that time, I was so passionate. If I had the passion now that I had back then,
Then.
I don't know what I would do. I think I had so much energy. I was always screaming on stage. I'm sure you remember. I was always, now I'm chilled now. Now maybe it's because now I'm older. Back in the day, I would scream on stage whenever I would get, I was so energetic. I had too much energy. People would always be like, yo, what did you drink an energy drink? Relax, calm down. Ray, yay. It wasn't me trying so hard to prove myself, but it was me enjoying every moment of, every moment on stage, every opportunity I would get, because also it was hard for me to get those opportunities because at home they didn't want me to be there, and in Matabeleland we didn't get so many opportunities to be on stage performing. So for me it was passion and excitement, and obviously I was younger, I had so much energy, but
Yes.
I enjoyed doing that, and I enjoyed sharing that with the world. And when people saw it, for me, I think it wasn't really about my rap skills, because at that time I was not as dope as I am now. But it
That's
was just
great
the
to hear.
passion. Sorry?
I'm saying so great to hear that you can actually compare
I can
the way
compare.
you were
Now I
then and
laugh
now.
at now whenever I want to mock rappers, I always tell them that you remind me of how I used to rap 10 years ago. 10 years ago I used to rap like you. But anyway.
But around that time, I remember in 2016, you know, you had rebelled at home, but you also got into trouble around 2016.
Uh-huh.
That is the time when the old dispensation are still in place. You
Mm-hmm.
got arrested.
Yeah, I was.
Tell me
And
about that experience.
that was a very traumatic experience. That was, I always hear people talking about police brutality as if it's just, like, yo, that was a very traumatic experience. That was the time when Ivan Warire had, started this flag
The
hype,
flag
and
movement. Yeah.
we were all hyped up, and every time we would get videos from my Warire saying fellow citizens, we would be like,
Yes.
oh my god, this is time, it's time now, it's time for the revolution, and we were so fired up. And there was a time when we all planned to shut the country down, and and
Mhm.
and me and most of my friends, we were like, yo, we should also be a part of this, we should also do protest this side, so
Yes.
that we also fight this, and we do it together. This side we do something as well. I was a part of that, and it was all good and great. And now that I think of it, we should have documented it properly. But it was
Sure.
all great at the time until the police came. When the police come with those tags,
The
it's a
story
different
changes.
story. It's a different story, my friend. Yo, it's a different story when the police come with those tanks and they are carrying shambox. And they will beat you. The way I was beaten up by the
Oh
police,
no.
whenever I see the police beating anyone up or I see pictures, I just quickly scroll because it was like really traumatic. It was really traumatic. And I was just lucky because people started looking for me on the internet. People started hashtagging my name and saying there's a
Ways
girl who
out.
has been arrested, and everything. And that time they had taken my phone, and Ruth was looking for me. My friends were looking for me. The last person I had texted, I think it was Cynic. I was like, I think I had texted Cynic and told him. I had texted Cynic and Psycho and my fam, and they just let me go. They just let me go because they discovered that I'm sure they thought that I was a journalist or a big artist or something, because they had to come back to say, when who are you? And I was like, what do you mean, who am I? They was like, who are you? Because at that time things were really, really hard. People were looking for me like crazy. I was getting calls. There were lawyers on standby ready to represent me, and everything. So because of that, I think they did not want the pressure, and they had to let me go. But they did not let everyone go, though. There were so many people who were arrested. They let me go. It was late at night when they let me go. It was late, and I remember Sean Macheza and Psychotech and everyone came to get me. Um, and we had to go to town, and they tried to cheer me up, and Pilani Amadeus, they tried to cheer me up and stuff. But then afterwards, it was a traumatic experience. I've been scared of the police ever since. I've been scared because I saw what they can do to a person. Whenever someone says, yo, I've been arrested, and I think of what they can do to a person, yo, ah, well,
But
we
you
can't be,
never.
we can't be scared forever.
True.
We can't be scared forever. We can't be silenced. I will never be
Yeah.
silenced. But I also can't say that I'm brave. I'm this brave person, because
Yeah.
I'm not. That those people can bring out all your weaknesses and make you feel with yo. This is police brutality that I'm always reading about. Haibo,
You experienced it.
the experience is like so traumatic, and of course we will continue fighting injustice, and talking about it, rapping about. I have a song called Rise Again that I performed a few days ago that talks about police brutality, talks about corruption and all. We will continue with the fight, but it's really tough to be at the hands of those guys. It's really tough.
And talking of which, you are part of the Girl Project, Girl, and this is an iconic project that brings together some of uh, some international voices,
Hmm.
female voices that are coming from places of conflict, and you're one of those. Could you just maybe explain a bit? Because I'm a big fan of the Stallion. I follow her music so much. I was watching a documentary, and it
Wow.
was because of her being part of the project. But maybe could you explain, because you guys have done so much. You've toured the world. You performed at the Olympics. You've done way, way too much that
Thank
I
you.
think Zimbabwe has not comprehended. And to speak truth to power, to talk about social injustice and other issues, but on a global level.
Ah, thank you. So because of the projects that I had been doing with In Place of War since Shoko Festival in 2014,
Mhm.
um, they decided to bring together women from places of conflict, like you were saying, put them together, not just because they're from places of conflict, but because they're powerful, in whatever they're doing, and they are talented. And they just picked people that they thought would blend, especially people who do different things. There's
Mhm.
Wiala from Ghana, she sings. There's Sohini, she's based in she's British Bangladeshi. There's Lady Di from Brazil. There is there's Lady Di from Brazil. There's Mabe from Colombia, and there was Nono Nkowane from South Africa as well, but she couldn't join us for our 2018 tour. But when we started, before Girl started, there was Voices of the Revolution, where they had also brought women, revolutionary artists. But then from those people, they picked out a number of people, looked at possibly what they could bring to the table, and how they would mesh up their talents and create something that has never been seen before, something dope. And they picked us. So I'm the rapper. I'm the rapper. There's Lady Di, she does dance hall. She's so dope. I'm really looking forward to Lady Di collaborating with the Zim dancehall ladies killing it in the game, because I think that would be crazy. That would be crazy. So
Yeah.
there's Lady Di doing dancehall. There is Sohini. She sings. There's Riala. She sings. So the way we just meshed up everything, and everything that we do, we meshed it up and did electronic music. So for
Right.
me, at first I was like, am I gonna be able to do this? Uh, because at that time Debele rap was still something that most people were trying to warm up to. It was a fresh sound, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, now doing Debele rap on electronic music, I hope I'm gonna be able to do this.
Mhm.
And um and 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 when we did it, oh my god, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. We created something that had never been created in the world before. It's the first of its kind. And
Mhm.
the energy on stage, the energy with the ladies, the different the way we just mash up our different, not just music, it's also about the cultures, the
Yes.
languages as well. This because we all bring our languages there, and Sisala, Ndebele, Bengali, and the way we just mesh it up together is just so dope. Everyone who watches us perform is just like, oh my god, these women are just so powerful.
And
And
what has been the most memorable performance that you guys have done? Which festival or which show?
for Australia. No, 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 it's not Australia. Uh it's could it every show in the UK has been dope. Every show in the
Yeah.
UK has, I think most girl fans are in the UK. Every show in the UK has been amazing, has been like, yo, just breathtaking. But one that stood out for me was the show that we did in Netherlands. What the show that we did in Netherlands? That one we killed it. That one we just killed. It was just too much. It was too much. I was like, yo. When we left the stage, we were sweating. I was like, yo, girls, we worked. It was dope. And the Netherlands, it was like so dope for me. Um, no, 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 no. Sorry. No, wasn't the
There's
Netherlands.
another one.
There's another one. There's Shambhala Festival. Shambhala Festival is one of the dopest festivals that I've ever seen,
In the UK.
in my life in the UK. Yeah, I think there were like 14,000 people before, like at that festival. It's huge, and we were sharing the stage with Femi Kuti. It was lit.
Wow.
It was nice, and we performed at 10 p.m. I remember when everyone had just, I think they just came from the fireworks, and then people were just gathered there.
Wow.
And I think I shared that video on my Instagram page because I was like, this is too much.
Yeah.
And people were screaming for more. People were like, we want more. And there was like thousands of people there. And people were enjoying, and we were voted the best act of the festival.
Wow.
Because at that festival, people can vote for whoever they liked so that they can bring them back. So we went back the next year because people wanted us on the main stage again. And it was crazy, the response that we got from people every time, whenever we perform, the response that we get from women saying, you guys don't see what you are doing, the impact that you have on young girls at these festivals. It's huge. Every young girls be like, oh my god, I want to be like you guys, the way you dance, the way you rap, everyone would be like, oh my god, I thought you would maybe dance or something, but when you rap, the way you just go hardcore out of the blue, one minute you're smiling at everyone, the next you're like, hey, the way you do it, you're so
Yes.
fierce. And girls need that, and that's one thing that I like the most about girls, about girls, sorry, the fact that we don't need to say much, but just us being there, women from different places with different skin tones, obviously different backgrounds and languages, us together on stage. It's a statement on its own. Before we even start doing anything, it just shows that women can work together and do something beautiful. And it just shows how powerful we are, and I think that's the message that we need to preach as well, because most of the times women are not given enough spaces to shine and
Yeah.
have an impact, because sometimes, of course, people say, no, we do include women, but you find that it's like four men who are very famous, and then there's one lady just to fill up the gap, just a token female who's
Yeah.
going to be there,
Mhm.
so that they can say, no, but there was a balance. So we need spaces where women can dominate and make it, because that's how you're going to have an impact. When people see you in a space where there's just women and it's time for women to shine, whether you like it or not, for the next hour, we're going to be on the stage, holding it down. And then afterwards, you guys can watch Femi Kuti. And I felt like, for me, that performance was very, very special because of the impact that we had on people, and the way people would come to us and say, you guys were amazing, you guys are an
Yes.
inspiration. Yeah, that one stood out for me.
Wow, great. Fast forward, you continue to do amazing things, but a lot of people say you're not dropping so much music. They're hungry, they're thirsty, they're craving for your music. But earlier, sometime last year, you dropped a track that went viral on Twitter and on Instagram. Within a space of like 2-3 days with like 200,000, you know,
Oh,
views and stuff.
yo.
And people are hungry for your content, but they're saying AWA is not giving us enough. She's,
But that's the
she's
point,
leading us
though.
crazy.
That's the point, though. Like, I would always argue with Calvin. Calvin would always be like, you would be fine if you had an album, right? And I'll be like, yo, where now you are releasing too much music. Can you be like, no, this is what you should do. The more music you have, the more chances of people,
Mhm.
discovering your music and liking you more. And for me, I don't know. I don't know. I can't really explain it. I can't really explain why I didn't have I wasn't focusing on releasing music. I think also it was, let me see, because I've never really thought about why. I've never had a proper answer to say, okay, this
But
is
but
why.
but are we gonna see like more music dropping anytime soon?
Yeah. Most def. But for me, I feel like it started when I started performing at Shoko, and I was discovered by Ruth Daniel. Took me to the UK to meet Girl, and we worked on girl projects. I've been traveling a lot and performing with either with Girl or by
Ah,
myself or
okay.
being part of festivals. It has been happening so much. It's just that most people, especially in Zim, are discovering me now, but they don't know that I've performed at more than 100 festivals.
Wow.
So I travel a lot, whether they are small or big or whatever,
You
but
perform.
I have to travel and be there. I have to go, and sometimes it's not even festivals. Sometimes it's just events where I go. So for me, I've been focusing more on live performances, so much that I had less time to actually record the music and put it out. And when we did record the music, with OutHere Records, we've had some delays and everything, but now finally everything is in order. I will be
Great.
releasing an EP
Oh,
very.
awesome. When? This year?
I still don't have a date. I don't want to start. I don't want to like put too much pressure on
But
myself.
this year,
No,
2021.
definitely this year.
Okay,
Definitely
great.
this year. The song that we released, Ungeke Bengimele, is from
Yeah.
the Village Girl EP. It's called The Village Girl. We have a title for it already,
Okay, great.
and it's not just my project, it's a collaboration between me and Ghanaian Stallion. So
Awesome.
both of us are working on the project together, contributing equally everything, the content creation. It's
Yeah.
just that sometimes I am the face of the music, but people don't know that behind the scenes,
There's
Ghanaian
actually a
Stallion
whole
works around
team.
the clock to
Yeah.
mix my vocals. Even the visuals that we dropped for Ungeke Bengimele, that performance in, Ghanaian Stallion was the one who was like, you're nailing things on the wall to make sure that everything is there is okay
Yes.
for me. So Ghanaian Stallion and I contribute equally to the project, and that's one thing that most people don't understand. They'll be like, yo, but how come this Ghanaian Stallion but we didn't hear him?
Yeah.
But how can you collaborate with the producer? I think this shows that producers are not given the
Enough
the appreciation,
recognition.
yeah, that they deserve, because they are artists. They are
Mhm.
artists. People forget that producers are artists. How can you say featuring a producer? They are an artist. They contribute to the
Sure.
project. Just because I'm the one who is telling the story, it doesn't mean that I'm the one who should own everything, because we all contribute equally financially as well. Like, he puts in money, he puts in time, the same energy, even more than me actually.
Wow.
So we're doing the Village Girl EP together. It has been recorded. Some of the songs have been mixed and mastered. We are going to release something very soon. It's just that we want to release everything with visuals, because you know that's what people want to see these days. You release
Yeah,
an
people want
audio,
to
it
see
doesn't get
visuals.
much. It doesn't get much attention. But luckily, because of the lockdown, people have been getting away with, putting out visuals that are not that expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, people just want content. People just want to see you. You see how K-Chaps went viral with the video of him
Yeah, with the video in
performing.
studio. Yeah.
Yeah, just you was just standing there having a mic and performing, and it went viral because and most of these things were not happening maybe last year or before the lockdown.
True, true.
So people now, they're just looking for whatever they can find on the internet. So because of that, we also decided to do a performance video for Ngeke Bengimele. And if
Great.
I tell you, there are some things that I can't discuss. There are some
Yes.
non-disclosure agreements that I signed,
Okay.
but the doors that it opened, oh my God.
Awesome.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
I'm
That's
telling you, the doors that it opened, I'm going to be doing soundtracks for movies and
wow.
amazing things
Wow.
just from that video. People saw it and they were like, whoa, this
Wow.
girl is amazing. This girl is a star. And some people even knew that her rap started coming back and say, yo, AWA is serious now. This is getting serious. And that's the importance of visuals. Visuals are so important. You can't release anything without visuals. It won't go far. People want to see you, they want to feel you, they want, to see the visuals. And it's not like back in the day where you could release a song and it would be a hit without even having, one music video.
Yeah.
So we want to drop those songs with visuals, even if it's just performance videos, even if it's just studio, anything that has got visuals.
Yeah.
And we're going to be dropping another one very soon called Rep Ganda Ganda. And then
Great.
we'll drop another one and another one, and then we will drop the EP. um I don't think we're going to take more than 2 months. I think 1 month max. We might drop it May
Yeah.
or even earlier. I'm not sure, but very soon we'll be dropping the Village Girl EP because the album has taken so long. We need something to
To
get
give
more ears
people
listen to.
until
Yeah, we need to kind of create hype for it. We need to create hype for it. So it's a good thing that we will release the EP first, then the album.
great.
So everything is happening this year, and it's gonna be a busy year. I don't even know
I
how.
can imagine.
It's gonna be a
But
thing.
a teaser a couple of years ago, you and DJ Tira working on something, and we never heard of that. Is this something that we should look forward to someday dropping?
Definitely, and definitely we will drop that song.
Okay, great.
Um, uh, it's very hard to say the dates because
Okay,
anything can change. The music industry.
yeah,
Next
yeah.
thing,
Yeah,
sometimes
functions differently from Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, I can record a song right now and just drop it the next minute.
yeah, but it's different, especially if you're working with a record label as well, because there are so many things that you need to account for before we even start. There are so many contracts to sign, and in Germany, the music industry works differently. Before you release an album, you have to give the booking agency 6 months prior to the release to look for shows for the album so that they can promote it.
Mhm.
So you can't just wake up and say, you know what, I'll drop. That's also another reason why I haven't been dropping music, because it takes a very long time. The way we dropped Ngeke Mele, we
Yes.
took time to finish it. It has been mastered. Then we work on the visuals, we work on whatever. It's not just about submitting the song to those Spotify or whatever links. It takes more than that. You have to prepare it, take it to the press and talk about it before the release, during and after. You have to create hype for it. You have to maybe start a challenge or something. Nowadays, release now that we're releasing songs on the internet, um you need a lot of content to back the song up. Otherwise, you're gonna drop the song, release whatever you're releasing, and boom, it's gone. And there's so much content. I'm sure you
A
of
lot.
all people know that the content is flooded. If you want yours to stand out, it has to have something special about it, because there's so many. Every day there's a music video dropping, coming soon, out now. There's so much. and and
And
and
people are not even getting enough time to digest. That's
uh,
what I feel.
people
There's
are
just
not getting enough time to. And someone was asking me why I was like, listen, I wanted the song to get enough time to be there so that people see it. Some people take time to see it. Some people log in once a week. So I gave Ungekebe Ngumele enough time. I had planned to actually leave it there for 3 months, and now that it has been nominated for best hip hop song on Star FM, it's
congratulations on that.
Dankeschön, thank you.
Bitte.
And
And how good is the German now?
it's quite basic. It's still
Quite
basic.
basic. I
It's
just
still basic. But well, I picked up a lot of words. I find myself talking like in German a lot, especially now.
yeah.
And it's been on the charts on local radio, on ZFM, on Star FM. Or Star FM has been spinning the song a lot. I guess that's why it was nominated for Best Hip Hop Song, because it's been spinning there a lot. Sky's Metro FM, it has been on the charts for 3 months now, and it has been number one since last month, I think. And so yeah, so the song is doing really well on radio. It's the local radio is playing the song, and I'm really happy, because for me, I feel like I have done, like you said, I've done a lot. I've done a lot. I've been on big stages. I've performed for thousands of people. I've done a lot of dope projects. And one thing that I want to do now is I want to take the music back home, because I treat music like a child, like a baby. A baby has to have a home. Otherwise, the a baby will never, will never be happy if they don't have a history, a clear family tree of where they come from, roots. So for me, I treat music like a child. Like a child I can visit with, or go places, travel with, but the child has to go back home, so that the elders can see the child and bless the child, and and teach the child. So for me, I feel like it's not normal, it's not okay for us to be making moves and doing things in Europe, and go back home to people not knowing the things
Not
that,
knowing what you're doing.
not just because I want fame or whatever, but because we need to document these things so that we inspire the next generation. For me, I feel like if I had an AWA KHIWE doing what I'm doing now, and I had grown up watching that, especially in a hip hop context, I feel like I would have done way more. I would have been motivated, because I would have known that no, you're not crazy.
Possible.
There's someone else doing this. It's possible for you to do this, and you can go far. So for me, because many people don't know me in Zim, don't know my story, don't know who I am, don't know my music, I decided to start focusing on Zim a lot, because those stories need to be documented. We need to pave the way for the next generation. That's how we pave the way for them. Even though they may not see it, they will see it maybe when we're gone. They will see that, oh, these guys were working hard. These guys did this, they did ABC. And I remember when we were doing the Loction to Europe documentary with Calvin,
Yes.
and we were talking about going to Germany, the fact that they called Calvin when he was in Luveve, and we were out there representing the whole country, and 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 the fact that we were doing all of that, and the city that we represent so much, the flag that we fly, with so much passion, but people
Yeah.
don't know that. It's not normal, it's not okay, it's not okay for
This is
people
this
not
is
to know
this is what I
the
find
moves that we have been making.
it's very
So
that a lot of names I see quite a number of names now. No Nkayi, Bruce Ndlovu, Ncube, so many
mm,
artists, Nkwali, that are doing amazing things on a global
amazing
level.
things,
And
amazing
back
things.
home, we only hear some of the names
Mm,
at our
mm, mm.
platforms. Uh,
Yeah.
lately, he on
and
Instagram.
and and these are stories that we need for motivation. Like I said, sometimes people don't even need anything else besides you telling them, listen, it's possible, you will make it, you will do it. The people need the motivation. I need to start doing a lot of things back home. There are so many projects that I want to do. I'm currently working with my father to have an art center at Nkayi.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. You
yeah,
heard it
yeah.
first on
Because
Ear Ground. She's working on an art center in Nero.
oh my
Wow, that is
God, I felt like I had to go to Bulawayo to start believing in arts, to know that it's possible. But what about the girls in the village? I feel like I need the girls in the village, not just in Kai, but wherever in the world. I need the village girls to know that they can be part of hip hop, because people act like hip hop is for the rich kids. It's for the town people, it's for the urban areas. If you play hip hop music in Kai, people will laugh and be like, ah, you guys shouldn't be playing this kind of music here. So because I grew up living between Bulawayo and Nkayi, the discrimination that I saw when it comes to how people treat village people, the things that people would say, like, yo, this is not cabbage, this is lettuce, whatever, you are now in town, yay, UVK, whatever, and that attitude, it demotivates it demotivates people who are from the rural areas, because they feel like they don't belong. They can't go that far. They can't do hip hop music. They have to either do drumming or sing traditional songs, because they are from the rural areas, and that's where they do all those things. They are the experts of the traditional. I want girls in the village to know that you can wear this and
It's
be
still
on
be cool.
national TV and
True.
still kill it, and still be on stage and still drop bars and kill it. That's why for me it's important to always, wear my costumes, because I want even girls in the rural areas to say, this is our that we grew up with, carrying firewood on her head or carrying water on her head, but now she's killing it with the bars. So that's another reason why I think the video went viral, because I said, hi people, I'm Awa from Kai, this is what I do, check it out. And they were
Yeah.
like, there's a rapper from Kai who can do this, the shock that
I
people
did
had.
not even know where Nkayi is.
Sorry,
I meant some people were
those who
before.
didn't even know where guys were asking, like, what is this guy? And people like, you won't believe it. It's like deep in the rural areas. And people who knew it were like, come on, no, she can't be from Guy. And people always give me that, no, you can't be from Guy. You speak English so well, or these bars that you drop or whatever. As if as if growing up in the rural areas means that you can't, you can't do anything huge, you can't be great. I don't like that stereotype that people from rural areas are reduced to uneducated people who don't know anything beyond mud houses. So I feel like there's a lot that we can change with music. But if you go to my Facebook page right now, you will see so many people from Kai will be doing the hashtag 53. Even on Twitter,
Phone code.
our ID numbers from guys.
Our ID number.
Yeah, it's 53 from guys. So people always put hashtag 53, hashtag 53, because I did that just to show people that, listen, we can also be a part of the pie. We can also have a slice of the pie. We can put our village on the map, or our growth point on the map, our district on the map. And that is why I want to have and I want to start an art center. I'm so happy that my dad is a part of it, because he works there, and he's the one who can be on the ground and help me with everything that we're doing. And please, now that I'm on ear ground,
Yeah.
I'm asking for sponsors, anyone who can sponsor us.
Yeah.
We,
To make that dream
whatever.
possible.
Every time when you say we need a sponsor, people think money. No, it's not just
Can be
about
kind.
money.
Yeah.
Please, all the companies out there, please don't put us on your adverts when we are gone, and you say rest in
True.
peace to us. Support us now while we still need your support.
Yeah.
I'm looking for support, anything, even if it's paint, Nash paint, please. Even if it's paint, Nash paint.
True.
We're doing an art center there. Please send
Yeah.
us 20 liters of paint. We will really appreciate it, because we want to have a setup where, we just set up a nice shed, with thatch it, make it nice,
Yeah.
and paint it, and just maybe put drums and decorate it nicely, so that it can be attractive, so that kids can enjoy being there, and whatever. So we're just gonna have a date when people can go there, and we can maybe invite facilitators,
Yes.
or have a workshop, a hip hop workshop, and whatever. We're still gonna do a lot. But please, if there are any sponsors out there that want to be a part of this, because it's gonna be huge. It's gonna
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
huge. I know that it's gonna be huge. Oh, I can feel it.
Definitely.
I can feel it in
Definitely.
my bones. So
So I'll share her email address on the screen so that you're able to get in touch with her. But definitely, I think this is something that is going to be big. Let's support this.
I hope so.
We've seen what she has done over the years, done to a whole generation. If she's able to impart the same to so many other young people, So yeah, but currently, uh, you've talked about what you're working on. Who are you listening to? Who is on your playlist?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Um my playlist right now, I'm listening to Kwabarat. I'm
Wabarati
listening to
Lo.
Kwabarat. I'm
Yeah.
really excited because I just read that he collaborated with one of my favorite artists from Mabala Noise in South Africa called Mobi Azo. And
Mhm, mhm.
I've always felt like, oh my God, these guys need to collaborate. Every time I listen to Kwabarati, he reminds me of Ngobi. When I listen to Ngobi, he reminds me of Kwabarati.
Wow.
And when I saw a picture of them in the studio together, I was like, what? Oh my God, I can't wait to listen to this. So I'm listening to Kwabarati. He has a song called Chobalami. He has a song
Yeah.
called Zeleni. The video is out now.
Mkazelweni. Yeah. I
I
love
feel
it.
like Ukwabarat is not given enough recognition for the work that he
You can say
does,
that again.
consistency, the quality of the performances, the work that he puts in, everything that he does. Especially the quality of the work, the costumes,
True.
the backing vocalist, the setup, everything. He's showing us how it's done. He's showing us that
You can
um
say that again.
yeah, he's really raising the bar for all of us to show us, listen, this is where we should be. This is the kind of content that we should create, so that even for the younger ones, they watch and they learn and they see. And I'm inspired by him so much. I'm inspired
Mhm.
by him. He's a vet in the game and he is very versatile. And yeah, so I'm listening to Khabarati a
Yeah.
lot, and
Great.
I'm listening to Noluntu J. I'm listening to
Noluntu J. Yes.
she's amazing. Like I always tell her that when I look at you, I just see myself. I just see myself. You have the passion that I had, and
Yeah.
she's 10 years younger than me. And I always
Wow.
listen.
Wow.
When I look at you, I see myself 10 years
10
ago,
years younger.
starting music. And I had the passion that that you have,
Mhm.
and everything. I'm just like really um I'm just really happy that there's no Luntu J. She's rapping in Debele.
Yes.
She's wearing the costumes. I can safely retire now because
There's
I will
somebody who's
know
taking over.
I will know
They
that
had,
someone is
yeah.
taking over. Someone will pass it on, and that's what I've always wanted. I've always wanted to see more girls doing what I do and killing it. So that
Right.
we carry on tradition. I'm
Mhm.
listening to Noluntu J. I'm listening to so many people. I'm listening to
Right.
Noluntu J. Um, oh my god, oh my god.
And um,
I have so many people on my playlist. I don't
right.
even know. Like,
Any Zim dance over there?
I love Zim Dance Hall. You don't understand.
For real. Who's your
I
favorite
love Zim
artist?
Dance Hall. I love Zim Dance Hall. I love Natty O and Pop 10. Like I was telling Pop 10 the other day, I was like, yo, you don't understand how much I love your music. Like at first I did not understand Zim Dance Hall.
Yes.
I wasn't hating it, but I did not understand. I really loved the fact that, the identity that it carries. I love how it's properly documented. I love that it's a movement. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Zindanso is not going anywhere anytime soon. The
Sure.
movement, the history, the identity, and everything. I've always envied the way they do things, and I've always wished the same for hip hop.
Mhm.
And but I was never really a part of dancehall that much. I would maybe just jam to the hit songs that are playing
Yeah.
everywhere that you can't ignore. But I've never been like a fan, like playing. But now I love what Pop Tane and
Not
Natty O
all.
are doing. I feel like they are taking Zim dancehall globally. Like I feel like these are the guys who are going to take Zim dancehall to another level. These are the guys who are going to, you know, to cross over to all parts of Africa, to especially because of if you listen to Afro beats, the combination of
Yes.
Afro beats and dance hall, and you listen to what those guys are doing, they've got I don't know if I should say it's modern, or if I say, I don't know how I can put it, but the dance hall that they do, I feel like you don't need to even because usually most people say, what we like about this is because my ghetto youths, they talk about what's happening on the streets, which is cool. But if you can't relate to that, there's a certain sound that Pop 10 and Natty all bring that you can just vibe to. It doesn't matter whether you
True,
understand the
true.
Ghetto Youth story or not, or
Mhm.
you understand whatever they're talking about. It's just a vibe. It's the colors. It's the way those guys wear the colors, and they make everything really go with the trend that is currently there from different parts of Africa and the world. Which is why I think, for me, they are gonna take Zim dancehall to, and they have already done that for me. That I feel like more is coming, and I can't wait to see that happening. So Kokai is like my most played song on on my playlist. It's my most played song. It's like every day when I wake up, and I don't even know the lyrics. I don't even understand the lyrics, but I just that Kokai, and I
Yeah.
just vibe with it. And the way I vibe with it, I know that everyone else who can't understand the lyrics is gonna enjoy that as well, because
So
I because I was talking about a language barrier. Every time when I talk about this, people always fight with me on the internet, and I don't care. I
no.
don't mind people having. People always say there's no language barrier in music. Music is universal, and I always disagree. I
Mm.
always disagree. And say that there is a language barrier in music. It
Yeah,
depends on the kind of music that you do.
true.
uh you can't take a conscious hip hop Ndebele song and expect everyone in the world to understand it. They won't,
You're right.
no
They
matter how
want.
good you are. Even if you are the best lyric, for me, I think Zola is one of the best lyricists in the world, not just in South Africa. But
I,
I can't
I,
explain that to a
I
person
agree
who
to
doesn't
that too.
understand.
I'm a big fan of Zola.
Yeah, 100%. He's amazing. But because of the language barrier, you can't really prove that in the globally he's one of the best lyricists. Obviously, people who understand are going to tell you, listen, he's talking about how he did this, and you're going to be like, oh, this looks dope. And that is a language barrier. The fact that people can't understand some of the things, and people always say, no, you guys don't understand, music is universal. I know that. I've been performing for years for people who don't understand my music, and they enjoy it. They're gonna enjoy
Yes.
it. They're gonna be like, oh,
But if
this
they
is nice.
understood the language, it could even create more impact.
Exactly. They could relate. They would follow the story and understand the punchlines, the metaphors. With hip hop, it's like poetry. Hip hop is like poetry. You with and if you're gonna listen to a poem a lot that you don't
Yeah,
understand, maybe it's in Swahili and you don't understand Swahili. How many times are you gonna play that poem that you don't understand?
yeah,
Especially maybe if it's a sad one. So the music is universal thing. It works with mostly songs that are already hit songs in their countries, because those who understand hype it up so much that the whole world can't ignore. The Jerusalem challenge did not start in Spain or in
yeah.
Germany or in America. It started in South Africa,
In South
because
Africa.
those who could sing started the challenge, and it went viral, and those who couldn't just enjoyed. They were part of the challenge. They enjoyed the whole story behind that. So if you don't understand the language, you can enjoy music. Trust me, people enjoy music everywhere. When I rap and I say, when I say this, you say that, people enjoy, but they don't understand the music. And that's the barrier that we are faced with. So the thing is, we can work around the barrier, because you have to have something, which brings me back to Kokai.
Yeah.
You have to have something special about your music, extra special, if people don't understand it. You have to be extra creative for people to really like you and vibe with you and
True.
remember you. They can see you performing at a festival and be like, "Oh, nice, yay!" And they won't remember you. You have to have something extra
Something
special, which
special.
is why for me, when I say nobody is doing that in the world. It's only me. You
Yeah,
all
yeah.
come back.
What are you saying? What are you saying there? Like I've tried to witness,
No, that's the part
um,
of no, that's just something that you can't really, like, have a direct translation for it.
yeah.
But I'm just saying that I'm dope. I'm just saying that I'm dope. This
And,
it's just
and,
self praise hip hop. It's just bars. I'm just saying
could,
that
could you give us that snippet of dopeness there?
yabona ithoma ngqo omphanya qho iqha kazi qho yimi ngqo debele qho isilungu ngikhuluma qho hey ngoqa zomrapha beqansa amaqaqa umfethele floor baba kwesiqaqa ngicela ukuqansa begaqa ndikuqela iphethe abangaqabaqabula isiphaqa so
No, you're amazing.
Thank you. So on top of rapping in Ndebele, on top of having my diva costumes, and you call them my diva costumes, on top of having my diva costumes, on top of having platforms, because I currently rate myself as a privileged artist in terms of everything, you know. I have a record label backing me up financially. I have a booking agency working around the clock to get gigs for me. So currently I rate myself as a very privileged artist. With everything that I have, the platforms,
Yeah.
the costumes, the story behind my work, I still need to be extra creative because of the language barrier. Because of the language barrier that's there, you have to have something that people can remember you by. And this is
True.
very important, especially for people who rap in Vernac. It's very, you have to have something that people can remember you by. For me, like I said, I don't understand what Pop 10 and Nati always saying on Kokai. But the vibe, Kokai, I just sing Kokai the whole song, and it's my most played song, you know. And so this is a lesson to us that when we create, we should add something that people should remember us by on our songs, because possibly we can cry and say, oh, our songs are not getting played on radio or whatever, but are we memorable when we create? Do we create something that no one else can find except if they click on your song, you know? So for me, I feel like the reason why I say that Pop 10 and Nati O are gonna take Zim Dance globally is because of the way that they are packaging it, the way that they are, you know, they obviously create with, you know, international standards in mind. But people don't understand their language in mind, and that's how they came up with that masterpiece. And more masterpieces are coming. I'm sure they're gonna drop dope albums on, and I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah,
You can say that
to
again.
answer your question, I do listen to Zim Dance Hall, and I love it.
Great. Wow. Oh, it's been awesome. It's been great. And thank you so much for giving us all this time to hear
No,
your
thank
story.
you.
And I would have wanted to continue asking more things, but I think we'll definitely do another follow-up, maybe on COVID,
That would
and
be
slow
great.
down, visit, and then do like a face-to-face interview. But thank you so much to all people that love AWA. What would you say to them? What's your word to your fans?
To all people who love me, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you so much for believing in me. I want to say thank you for supporting me. It means a lot to me. Like I said, to me, music has to have a home. And for me to be appreciated at home, oh my God. Like I was crying when that video went viral and I saw homies sharing and everyone being proud. For me, support from my fellow Zimbabweans, and by Zimbabweans, I don't mean people from Matebeleland. It's time that we should bridge that gap and just, you know, learn when we just understand that we're just siblings who speak different languages and we're from different regions, but we're just siblings. And I'm praying that one day, you know, we will be able to understand that. And I really hate tribalism. We should stop it. Let's just vibe to music no matter where it's from. Let's create spaces from people for people who are artists, no matter where they're from. Even if someone say, hey, I'm from Chireti, I'm from Kai, I'm from Cholocho, please give them an ear. Let's make space for new artists, because if we keep the same people in the same positions and not look for new talents,
We're not going anywhere.
we're not going anywhere. We're not gonna go anywhere. We're always gonna have 5 big artists and no other artists, you know. So I want to say thank you so much to people who support my music. And I also want to say something. I also want to say
Yes.
that so many times people are going to DM me or WhatsApp me messages saying they love my music. I appreciate that, but it does not help me to grow. If you're gonna send me a DM and say I appreciate your music, it will motivate me, but it won't help me to grow. Go to YouTube and leave comments there so that there's 10,000 comments. Anyone who clicks my name, wherever, if it's a festival and they want to check whether they can book me or not, they will check my YouTube. They want to see how I'm doing. Please, 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 please take that love to YouTube. Take that love to social media. Don't WhatsApp me and tell me I'm a dope rapper. I know I'm a dope rapper. If I wasn't a dope rapper, I wouldn't drop music. I know. And I'm happy that you want to motivate me, but nothing will motivate me more than to see my social media numbers growing, than to see my YouTube views going up, to see comments there, to have thousands of comments. Because I noticed that when my video went viral, you know, people were DMing me their love. And I appreciate that. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate it. It motivates me. But let's just push it to YouTube and Instagram and there, so that, you know, I can grow, and maybe one day I can have many followers, and these corporates are going to work with me. So if you want to help me to grow, please help me on social media and not on WhatsApp.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Thank you. And I love you guys. Thank you for the support. I love you. Mwah.
Awesome, awesome. I've been speaking there to the Queen, our KHIWE banda. AWA. Do you still use African Women Arise?
Yes, I use it. I just use our KHIWE as my full stage name, because using AWA did not work for me, because there are so many AWAs, some are associations, some are, so it's hard even on the internet to find anything about me. So that's why and African Women Arise was a bit too long, so I just decided to go with our KHIWE, because it's my birth name, and I just thought, okay, let me just use our KHIWE. But African Women Arise is proper, the Rap Queen is proper, the Village Girl is proper. Oh, I have so many names.
Well, I've been speaking there to the Ndebele Rap Queen. She's amazing. She's awesome. She's a brilliant, amazing story that I hope one day we're going to watch a movie or a documentary about it. Another one.
Definitely.
It's quite compelling, quite overwhelming. This is why we took very long to tell this story, to let her tell her own story without interjecting. So stay tuned to AWA New Voices Amplified. My name is Plot Marco. It's been awesome. Until next time. AWA, thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Bye.
You're most welcome.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
And thanks to everybody who's been watching. Stay tuned to AWA New Voices Amplified. My name is Plot. I'm out.
Showbiz will never sound the same again. Earground.
Are you ready?
Earground Radio.
We came, we saw, we kicked it.
New voices amplified.